Guys, thank you so much for having me here. This is a fantastic opportunity. And thanks for the introduction, Matt. What I would like to do is probably understand who are in the audience for me. So what we will do is play a small game, okay, before we start. Everybody knows how to snap? Okay, so if you hear a question that I ask, and if you can resonate to it, and if you're in agreement, give me a snap, okay? Are you familiar with the promo and trade analysis by any chance? Because I'm going to touch upon these few things. I just want to make sure that I have the audience with me. Trade and promotion, anyone? Okay. Are you familiar with FMCG? Okay. Are you familiar with media analytics? Market mix modeling? How are you liking so far the whole presentation, the way it's going? See, fast feedback. All right, okay, so what I'll go through is today, obviously, I work for Kellogg's, and I've been there for the last 3 years, and obviously Matt has done the small introduction, which is amazing. Today I'm going to talk about, how we use within Kellogg's analytics to drive fact-based decision making. And analytics is really at the core of everything that we do within Kellogg's, starting from new product development, listening to consumers, driving high impact analytics to make decisions around trade, around media, all of those things. How all of this comes to life is what I will try to summarize in the next 5 slides, okay? And I have some lovely products here, which I'll go through in a second. Didn't want to miss the opportunity of the free PR. And I'm really proud of those, to be honest with you. So yeah, just to take you through some of the stuff, okay? I'm going to go through, oh my God, this is massive. I'm going to go through 1, 2, and 3 are the areas that we really work well with support from our partners like Game Theory, and how do we actually take the learnings and how do we do well on those, okay? So 1, 2, and 3 are those. And the 4th one is about what's next, and that's where I was asking you a question about trade and promotion and those kind of things, okay? So I'll start with the first one here. And I'm sure most of you are familiar with these. I would imagine so. Like these are the brands that you all grew up with. You had them in your breakfast, So these are probably more older than most of us in this room today, okay? And we've been eating them. We grew up with these, but not everybody is the same. So obviously, when I was born in India, and I lived there for 23 years, and my mum used to make this food for breakfast. It's called koki and achar, okay? And koki is a flat white bread, and achar is pickle, right? So that's what she used to feed us every day. And some days when we were behaving and she was happy, she kind of gave us an omelet at the side as well, right? But what I'm trying to get to from this is there was no mention of cornflakes or Rice Krispies or anything like this. So what we are doing in Kellogg's now, getting all these people from different backgrounds, different geographies, is kind of creating that diversity, that not everybody is same, so that you get to understand how other partners, other people behave, okay? So this is a little bit about us, and then I have this beautiful brand, okay? This iconic brand, Pringles, that you see over here. Like, seriously, it's at my heart, okay? Every time I talk about this brand, I keep smiling. We have acquired this brand about 7 years ago. And what a fascinating brand, right? It comes with great team, great energy, great engagement. And not just that, it comes with great financial gains as well. It's been growing double digits in the UK. We have expanded this in Russia recently, and again, phenomenal growth over there as well. And actually, I was reading a note from my senior managers today, and we've opened up a 4th additional line of creating Pringles in our Kutno, Poland plant as well. It's 110 million worth of an investment to produce over 20,000 tons of Pringles every year, which is almost the same as what you would sell in France in the full year. So the great brand, fantastic brand, and kudos to the team that are joining this. And then I have a few more brands here as well. And as I talked about, consumer demand and listening to consumer, these products that I have out here, Kellogg's, WK Kellogg's, is a new product. It's totally in line with what consumers are demanding for. So we are listening to them and we are creating these innovations as well. So what I'm trying to get to from this is it's all about how we listen and how we produce, okay? So this is about our portfolio and taking you through, right? So all these iconic brands are fantastic, right? And how do we make sure that we give them the love and care that they require? Working with game theory and our market mix modeling partner, we focus on brand and country performance. We look at how Pringles is growing, how France Extra is growing, or we look at other things like Special K and other things, just to make sure that we understand that market and we understand those brands, okay? Where should I invest my first media dollar? Where should I invest my last media dollar? I think the guys already talked about the diminishing returns. The way I would explain to the people in my office is probably less complicated as Dom did. I just say, and in Ireland it works really well as well because of the culture. So you say you have a glass of gin and tonic. How does the first one make you feel? Really good, right? How does the second one make you feel? And then the third one and the fourth one, right? There's the diminishing returns that hits you. And then after that, the 10th one, you don't care. Whiskey on, doesn't matter, right? So that's what diminishing returns is. And that's what we need to understand. So our market mix modeling partners are giving us some fantastic tools with Game Theory Interactive and other things, where we are able to see when we are going to that fourth round of gin and tonic, when we are on the third one, and where should we control and where should we pull and push? Is it a time for a beer or maybe a cocktail or a shot, So those kind of things come through, and how you learn, this is Dublin speaking, by the way. I've been there 13 years, I've learned my way. Even when we give direction, it's all about take a left from Pochinstill and then Moldovany's on your right. That's where I live. These are all bars, by the way. So what I'm talking about here is, that obviously these brands are key to our success, okay? And this is what makes us unique in the portfolio that we are operating. How do we utilize analytics and how do we make these brands grow? And that's what we've been doing so far with the help of all you fantastic people. What we are doing next is, which is what Game Theory did for us, is about portfolio type of how do we leverage this learning to a next level. So I'll take you through leveraging this local learning that we currently have and make it more of a portfolio type learning, right? You have such a wide portfolio. You have cereals on the side, you have Pringles, and you have snacks, right? It's a wide portfolio, and you would imagine, right, in any situation you work with, marketing budget is always tight, right? Would you agree? Or is it just me that's marketing budget is tight? Right, so marketing budget is tight, and what you need to do is you need to make sure that you deploy that money in the right brands so that it gives you the right return on investment, short and long, both. And when you have a diverse portfolio like the one we have, how do you make those learnings and understandings clear to the consumers and also within the office as well to convince the partners to invest in the brands where it will give you the best return? Long and short, to be precise. Okay, so what Game Theory did for us, this is fantastic, and it was talked about with our marketing VP, and everybody talks about this as well in the office. So we created, they created a tool called HIPPO, which is High Impact Portfolio Planning Optimizer. A bit of a mouthful, but think of it this way, that it gives you the option to look at these 4 variables that you see at the bottom of the screen, okay? You have brand size, so you want to make sure that you're supporting the brands that are big, that are driving your financials, that are taking care of your P&Ls. You also want to make sure that you are looking at the brands that have the growth trajectory, the brands that are actually up in the game at the moment, okay? And then, most of all, again, this one is from the P&L, is the profit margin that you have in those brands. How do you make sure that you're supporting the brands that even if you sell 2 kilos, you're going to get a lot of money back, whereas the other brands where 10 kilos is worth not the same. And then the final one is, this is the learning from market mix modeling, where investment response. So every $1 million that I'm spending, what am I getting in return for those? So when you make a combo of all these fantastic 4 variables, how do you utilize that learning and actually create something that optimizes your investments, gives you the chance to grow your core business, and also gives you the opportunity to focus on those strategic brands that are not too big today, but have a potential to become big tomorrow, okay? So that's how the portfolio planning optimizer works. And great shout out to Chris and Game Theory for doing this work. It's very well received. But again, I'll take you to this example again, right? What's happening is, all this analytics and execution is fantastic. This all makes sense to a lot of people in the room that were clicking before. But what happens is when you go to that CFO or when you go to that marketing VP, they would say, why? I mean, why should I do this? Even if you have shown all the facts and fundamentals and the facts behind the things, sometimes it doesn't go down that well. So you really need people to be besides you, okay? You need your media teams, your Kara teams, you need your VPs, your marketing guys, everybody by your side when you're suggesting something, the recommendations are actually executed, okay? And how do you make that happen? I mean, people are and must be your competitive advantage. So I'll give you a funny one on this. My daughter, 5-year-old Zaira, okay, and she was doing her homework in the house, and what she had to do was, it's kind of a wavy dotted line, and she had to go through with a pencil and just basically follow the lines, okay? And she was going above the line and below the line, above the line and below the line. I'm like, Zaira, why are you doing this way? Then I took a picture of this and I sent it to Chris in game theory. I said, Chris, my daughter is underfitting and overfitting the curve. Right? And Chris being Chris, he comes back and he goes, I'm sure the Durbin Watson wouldn't be great, right? And I know the smiles are going down. There is a reason behind it because not everybody understands that language. You don't need to bombard your team with regression, with p-values and t-stats and all that stuff. What they need to know is the reality behind those things. What is good like? What is that benchmarking that I need to know to make sure I can convince my teams? And this is where you bring Accelerate Analytics. You create an education program. So this is a logo that I designed in Paint, and that embossing effect that you see is in PowerPoint. Okay, so zero investment behind this. But what this tool does is basically, so you create a group of people. You will explain them how to understand analytics, how to understand what good looks like, and how do you benchmark all these things. And moreover, when a market mix modeling debrief comes through, how do you understand those results and use them to make decisions for future? And this is a key, right? This is really, really key. If you really want the business to execute your analytics learning, you really need them to be on board with you. So I tried to explain my daughter underfitting and overfitting, and she said, what? Not having any of that. But then you show her how do you actually do it, and next time she would do it. And my daughter is no different to the media agency or to the media teams. You got to show them what is right. You need to follow that pencil this way, and it will work better for you. So that's where Accelerate Analytics, and this works for us. Proud of this one, actually. So what I've talked about so far, rather quickly, and tell me if I need to slow down a bit. The three things, okay, are iconic brands, the portfolio of what we have, which includes some of the great brands that we have and some of the new ones that we have. How do we use portfolio analytics? Chris, I know you're smiling. Hippo, basically high impact portfolio optimization tool. How do we leverage those learnings to do portfolio analytics? And then taking it forward, how do you empower people by doing what we are doing through Accelerate Analytics, okay? But what's next, right? So this all seems to be working well. You are able to understand your diminishing returns through the method of gin and tonic. You're able to do portfolio analytics. You're able to understand how your single individual brands are performing and how do you drive them to success. So what's next, really? So this is another challenge that we are getting in the business now for 2020, and this is a key requirement and a key ask. It's actually outside of the media and actually including a commercial and holistic view of how do you grow a brand sustainably? How do you make sure that you're making all those levers from distribution, from promotion, from seasonality, pricing, all of those together along with media and not just media itself. This is where we are saying that our new what's next is integrated commercial analytics. What we want to do within this is actually take a couple of different streams of works that are working at the moment within the business, but they are kind of slightly compartmentalized. They're doing things on their own, and they're doing all well. So we had recently done a maturity model index survey for analytics team within the office, and what the results came out were really good. It looks like market mix modeling is doing good. Revenue growth management is also doing good, and so is the business analytics team. So there's no problem as such. But what's coming out is the theme that, all of you are great in your individual areas, but how do you bring them together? And this is where we are taking the new journey towards integrated commercial analytics, where you have these 3 analytic streams, starting from revenue growth management, who look after pricing, promotion, trade, channels, all of those things, and going up to market performance analytics, which is about driver, brand growth, other things. And then obviously layering the cherry on top, market mix modeling to drive growth, to give that 360-degree view to our end internal stakeholders and external stakeholders, to actually make those decisions even more powerful than they are today. And what this will give you is one team. In terms of structure, we've already done this. We have created a one team that reports, all these 3 report into one person, create a one version of truth, and create insights accessible for all. You know, we need to move away from those PowerPoints. We need to get to, even though I'm presenting from PowerPoint, we need to get those results in more agile ways so people can consume, exactly like your demand generation toolbox, right? Something that people can use and actually touch it themselves rather than taking a static view of something. So how do you do that? And then creating an agility to focus on the whole commercial view rather than just one single view of it. And that's all it is, basically. So I'll be happy to take your suggestions. If you guys have any thoughts about this, if there is anything that you know that I don't know as yet, I would love to hear from you. But for now, this is my LinkedIn profile. If you want to get in touch, if you have any suggestions, come to me. But thank you very much for listening to me. I appreciate your time.